Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to our program. Today we're talking about Hujjatul Islam, Imam Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, who is known as Imam Al-Ghazali. Okay, no one knows Hujjatul Islam or Abu Hamid. Everyone knows that he is Imam Al-Ghazali. We are saying that Imam Al-Ghazali decided to go out on a journey, a spiritual journey, a journey of seclusion, a journey that he's going to have privacy for himself, okay? A journey that he will look after himself and he will give benefit to himself. Because Imam Al-Ghazali, he said that I need to get the proximity of Allah. I don't have that at this moment. He took an account of himself and he decided to do that. So subhanAllah, when he was leaving, everyone was surprised. Why would you leave this prestigious post? No one does that. Everyone's dream to get to the level that you're in. Why? If someone said maybe he's losing it. People, they do ghibah sometimes, they don't know. Imam Al-Ghazali said that what was really surprising, that no one believed, hardly anyone believed that there could be a religious reason for me to leave. Everyone thought the departure is because maybe it's a political pressure, family pressure, or I have some sort of like depression and stuff like that. No one understood that there could be a religious reason. Sometimes people believe that you migrate from one town to another town. They believe it's for money. People have made so many accusations. Maybe he's got a woman. You never know. People make all this kind of stuff here, but could be a religious reason. Imam Ghazali goes, no one knew this one. Anyway, I'm not here to please people, Imam Ghazali said. I want to please Allah. And then he said that I intended to go towards Sham. Okay, so he went towards Sham, he went to Syria, and he stayed in Masjid al-Umawi, or the Umayyad, beautiful masjid. It's called the Umayyad Masjid in Damascus for 2 years. And he stayed, he said, sometimes I should lock myself inside the minaret, and I used to spend my time in meditating. And all day I used to spend in meditating, obviously to come out for salah and go back again. I never used to meet anyone. Okay, and my situation, my condition changed as well. That one day, one of his students, Ibn al-Arabi, I recognized him from far away. His clothes was all patched, and he's got nothing with him. This is a man, he had everything. Now he's got nothing except for a water. He had a water carrier. You have water skin in the olden days, leather. So he used to have this water in a leather skin. He's got a staff on his hand, and clothes patched from few places. So he looked at him and said, Imam Al-Ghazali, what are you doing here, Ustad? Okay, and why is it that I'm seeing you like that? Okay, you had everything Allah has given you. Why have you sacrificed all that? Imam Al-Ghazali gave a very beautiful answer. He said in Arabic poetry. So I'm going to sing this poetry for you. Then I'm going to translate. He says, تركت هوى ليلى وسعدى بمعزلي وعدت إلى تصحيح أول منزلي فنادت بي الأشواق مهلا فهذه منازل رويدك فانزلي منازل من تهوى رويدك فانزلي. So beautifully he basically used metaphor here. He used Su'ad and Su'da, two names of women, saying that I was in love with two positions, basically, like teaching and madrasa nizamiya, okay? But I've left all that. And I came back to the original position, which is when I was unknown. When I was in Nishapur, no one knew me except for my teacher. Okay. When I came to Baghdad and Madrasa Nizamiya, everyone knows me now. He said I came back to my original spot where no one recognized me. So when I came to this position where no one recognized me, then my desires spoke to me, and he said that this is where you're supposed to be. So stay here, don't go anywhere. In other words, Imam Ghazali is saying that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is when you don't know anyone, then you have sincerity. When everyone knows you, it's very difficult. I want to live a life like that. So he told his student that go away, I am not going back to Madrasa Nizamiya. Then after that, he went to Palestine. He stayed in Qubbatul Sakhra, okay, the Dome of the Rock that you know. He stayed there, done i'tikaf for a few years. Then he went to Hebron, which is known as Al-Khalil, and he visited Ibrahim alayhi salam's maqam. And then he stayed there for a few months as well. And then he decided that I need to go for Hajj. Talking about Ibrahim, you remember Hajj. And then when the Hajj season came, he went for Hajj. He stayed in Mecca and Medina. And then, respected viewers, 10 years later, Imam Al-Ghazali decided to go back to Baghdad again, go back to his hometown and met up his family members and everyone. And then he was reappointed to be the teacher in Madrasa Nizamiya once again. But now the dars is totally different. The dars that is to give now is after 10 years of this mujahada, okay, these sacrifices that he made. this meditating that he's done. As a result of this meditation, Imam al-Ghazali thus was completely different. Now people feel different. It's not just about terminologies. It's not about just how strong your arguments, it's more than that. It's more about spirituality. There's more ruhaniya there. It's more about you preparing yourself to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the style was different now. Imam al-Ghazali, then he wrote 2 books. Okay, one is called Tahafut al-Falasifa, the incoherence of the philosophers. Okay, he wrote this book because at that time everyone was talking about philosophy. Okay, they thought that the end is philosophy, and those philosophers and the Greek philosophy, people used to praise them, and anyone who studied Greek philosophy, they were respected and recognized. Imam al-Ghazali wrote against them, saying that they are not even consistent. Okay, they are incoherent in their arguments, and he defeated them in this book. Okay, and then the famous book that I would like to talk about, which is maybe you'll find this book almost in every house, Ihya Ulumuddin. Okay, this Imam al-Ghazali, this Ihya Ulumuddin, it was, you could say, a culmination of the 10 years of seclusion that Imam al-Ghazali, he went for seclusion after he left Madrasa Nizamiya. Now, this book is very beautiful. Why? Because what happened, the reason he wrote this book, basically, he observed the Muslim community in Palestine, in Syria, in Iraq, and all other places that he traveled to. He basically observed the Muslim communities. He found out where the weaknesses are. When they pray, what are the weaknesses? When they give zakah, when they do hajj, when they fast in the month of Ramadan, what do they lack? What about when they do tilawa? What about the dunya? What about the family matters? What about the social matters? What about the matters in the community? What about the, when they do transaction? What about when they do nikah? Okay, what about when they give talaq? So basically everything that in our practical life, where do we go wrong? The pros and the cons, the positives, the negatives, the weaknesses and the strength. He summarized all that. He observed all that, and he realized that, ulama, they the first one need to basically make themselves even more better. They can't just give lecture. They themselves actually make themselves better. If they are spiritually strong, then they will benefit the ummah even more. The second person that he targeted, the hukam, the rulers. The rulers, they also need sharia as well. The problem with the rulers is that they think they are just sitting in a position, they could tell people what to do. They don't need to pray. They think that, they don't need to worship Allah. They don't need to even do anything like that. They think that once upon a time I'll do hajj, I'll be fine. I could miss my prayers. I don't have to worship Allah. I don't have to prepare for the death. Imam al-Ghazali said that because of our rulers are not pious, is having a negative impact in our community. So he wrote against them and explained to them. Against basically means gave them guidance. And not only he wrote in books, he actually visited this hukam and the rulers as well. So he talked about the scholars, he talked about the hukama, he talks about the umara, and then he talks about the general people as well. I said, general people, the biggest mistake we have, that we are too much in love with the dunya. We want the luxury of the dunya. We believe that our success is in the more money that we have. We believe that we will get tranquility and contentment if we work very hard. That's it. That's where the success lies. He says no, that is not truth. What we want is that we want to, if you want success, if you want peace, if you want tranquility, we have to give preference to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to understand the religion of Allah azza wa jal. We have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to follow the ways of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is why he wrote Ihya Ulumuddin. Some of the people have criticized Ihya Ulumuddin, for example Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, Ibn al-Jawzi and few others. But the criticism is academic criticism. I'm not going to go into that. They have the right to criticize him. It's because he used philosophical terms, and because he used some weak hadith as well, and because he gave some sort of he increased quoting saying of Sufi scholars. Those kind of criticism he received. But Ibn Taymiyyah, look at the honesty here. Despite the fact he criticized the book, and criticized Imam al-Ghazali, he said, I've studied Imam Ghazali's book, and I found the book to be very beneficial. غالبه جيد. Most of the things that he mentioned in the book, they are very good. And then he gave his academic criticism, which I've mentioned. And those criticism, alhamdulillah, has been answered by Imam al-Iraqi, because he done the takhrij. He wrote a lot of hadith. The hadith that Imam Ghazali mentioned, the hadith that he mentioned in what do you call Ihya Ulumuddin, they were, Imam Iraqi, a knowledgeable scholar, he done takhrij. Takhrij means he told us which one is weak, which one is not. Okay, so that job is done, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Okay, so which basically means now it's very easy for us to benefit from that book. Alhamdulillah, the book is translated into English as well. You could read it into English. It's translated into many other languages as well. So whatever language you speak, I'm sure you'll find that there is a translation of this book is there as well. This was, it's not just a book, it was actually a scholar who wrote after he traveled and he observed the situation of the Muslim Ummah, and then he wrote this book. So obviously this book will be very, very beneficial, inshaAllah ta'ala. Some people have exaggerated and they praised this book, and they said that, if you don't have any other book, you have Imam al-Ghazali's book, that will suffice. Anyway, that's an exaggeration, but the book is really beautiful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Imam al-Ghazali. Jazakumullah khairan, dear viewers, for listening to us, inshaAllah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and accept us. Ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.